this region, we're talking about the South, has Duke as the number 1 seed. They get to play in game. We talked about that in one of our previous segments. This is an interesting Duke team, Gordy, that I see. It's not an atypical Duke team, is it?
Yeah, it's. I mean, they're huge. I mean, the Plumlee brothers and Brian Zubek, they've finally gotten some useful minutes out of him. I guess he had some foot problems early in his career, and he's kind of emerged this year as their guy in the middle. And usually you think of Duke as like this sleek kind of wing-oriented team when they've been really good, but this year they're kind of a grinded-out, defensive-oriented team. So maybe that plays better at this time of year.
I think it does, yeah.
So we'll see, because, I mean, look at some of these shooting games that Shire and Singler have had lately. Not real good.
And they still won.
But they've still won. Yeah, right. So I think that speaks well. That they might be better than we think they are.
Yeah, I kind of have the same suspicion. And I think that if you look at their season, they've had a really interesting season. Like some of the teams they played, like UNC Charlotte, for example. Now their season really came off the rails late, but early at one point in the year they were 10-1, including a 20-point win at Louisville.
Right.
And the one loss was to Duke, 101-59 on a neutral floor. I mean, Duke has killed people. Duke beat Maryland by 20. Duke beat Gonzaga by like 38 or something.
Yeah.
They've had a better season than I think people have gotten in the habit of perceiving Duke in a certain way.
Right.
I think
they're not soft. It's not a soft team.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
they're different than that. Yeah,
they're a physical team. I mean, and let's not forget too that Nolan Smith has had a really nice year. Son of Derek, who was a very tough-minded guy.
Derek, one of our all-time favorites.
Yes, absolutely one of our all-time. And let's not forget either for down the road. Next year they get Seth Curry in there.
Yes,
and they also get one of the great recruits, a point guard by the name of Kyrie Irving's coming next year. So as good as they are this year, I think they might be better next year.
Yeah, they're coming. They're coming back.
Is this the easiest of the brackets?
I thought the other bracket was the West. I wasn't impressed with the West the more I looked at it. I kind of like this one. I mean, Nova you never know about. I mean, they really skidded at the end of the year. As we mentioned before, they lost 5 out of their last 7. And then Jay Wright, after they lost in the tournament, he had the gall to say that we don't judge ourselves in wins and losses here. Oh, what?
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of, from the Villanova camp late in the year when they were on the skid, there was a lot of, well, we're getting better, even though we're getting beat a lot. We're getting better. What? Yeah, there was a lot of that. You're right. There was a lot of that.
They really missed Dante Cunningham. They don't have a big
and here's the other thing. I mean, this is something that somebody pointed out to me. A guy named Dick Weiss, who works for New York Daily, he's a very respected college basketball guy. His theory about this Villanova team is that Jay has made a mistake by not settling on a lineup. He's like scrambled it around, and last year they were cohesive. You knew who was going to play, and this year you don't know. From one game to the next.
At the beginning of the year, I thought Villanova would really, really miss Cunningham and really, really struggle. Cunningham, a guy who I think is starting for the Portland Trailblazers, at least
largely because they're hurt.
Because of injuries, and then they played so well so much of the year. I mean, that win at West Virginia was just a terrific performance by them. Really made you think this is a Final Four team. And maybe that was a little bit fool's gold, a little bit. And they do have some, they're missing some pieces. Certainly a dangerous team, but I'm not real bullish on Nova.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the reservation you have about downplaying them is Scotty Reynolds has had a tremendous year and probably deserved to be the Big East Player of the Year.
I think he did,
but was not. Surprising. Wesley Johnson, good player, but I thought Scotty Reynolds had a better year. You know, no fear about him. Will take and make big shots. So, you know, you wonder about a player like that at this time of year. You know, he's always sort of the ace in the hole you have in a close game.
Never fear. I always thought he was a fearless player. Now fearless and a good decision maker.
Yeah.
Doesn't take bad shots, doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
What I like at the bottom of this bracket is there is no big men they're going to be going against.
That's
could
true.
do well. Who do you like is who's an unheralded team that we're not mentioning down here in this
Maybe
bracket?
Baylor?
Okay.
I think Baylor. Yeah, I sense we're agreeing too much here, guys. But I'm looking at my bracket, and that's what I have. I have Baylor making a little run, and very well coached team, pretty athletic. Again, I think I have a suspicion that the tournament is going to reveal that the Big 12 was maybe even a little better than people thought. And so I kind of like Baylor to make a little run.
Yeah, I'm not real bullish on Louisville. I don't think they've had a very good year this year. And Purdue, of course, lost Hummel, and they're the 4 seed. So that's a pretty soft 4 seed.
Yeah,
right off the top. So. And Notre Dame, I mean...
I was going to ask you about that.
Speaking of wild cards, I mean, somebody said that they've kind of reinvented themselves like a couple different times this year. They played fast with Herringody, then they lost Herringody, and they had to reinvent themselves as a slow team, and then they brought Herringody back, and they're still playing slow. Now, how healthy is he? That's the question. I mean, he comes off the bench and he gives them some good minutes, but when I saw him last week at the Big East tournament, I thought he was still sort of fighting it a little bit. He didn't look quite like himself. Now, he said that it's just a matter of conditioning, but who knows?
Yeah. They are a veteran team. I think they're scary because they're a veteran team.
Right.
That really is it's a really good match of personnel and style of play right now.
Right.
Who knows if it's going to last?
I was impressed with them. I actually have them playing Duke, but I'm taking Duke out of this bracket. Who you guys like?
Well, I hate to say it, but I got Duke too. I got Duke going to the championship game against Kansas.
Is that right?
Yeah,
the Dukies. Dukies trying to ugly up Kansas in the championship game. Is that what I tend to think that because I think I'm talking myself into this because I just think that they're better than we think they are. That they're not better in the conventional Duke score 85 points and look real pretty doing it way, but more like we're going to lock you down and beat you up a little bit kind of way.
Last 3 national champions have come out of these top seeds, so somebody's going to make it through. There's not as many upsets as there used to be. I'm going Kansas and West Virginia in the finals, and I'm going to take Kansas to win this thing.
Well, I got Kansas Duke, and I have Kansas winning it. Yep.
I'll go Kansas, West Virginia, and go Kansas to win it. How's that for something different?
Not a whole lot of 9 seeds getting much play from the group here. Well, that's how this thing goes, right?